sexy compatriots, it's your boy Minty Coffee here, the sexiest cup of coffee in the land, and I am here with Snooze.
Okay.
Stocking.
Aloha.
And Alexa Zadiria.
My yeet meter is maximum.
And we are here to be talking about random crits. How did he make them? Now, there's been a pretty big debacle ever since Uncle Dane reignited this debate. Should random crits be removed from TF2,
yes,
or should they stay? Now, there's quite a lot of arguments being made on both sides, and we're going to be probably addressing most of them today. Now, as I understand it, pretty much everyone on this podcast is pretty heavily against random crits, so if you wanted something a bit balanced, unlike the random crits, you're probably not going to find them here. So we're going to preface this with a bit of a general overview of what we each think, and if you ask me, get rid of random crits, please. Honestly, I've been playing this game since day one, and I don't see why people think they're such an integral part of the game. If you want to compromise, I'd say, okay, leave them maybe on, I don't know, melee weapons, and give it a lower crit chance, because being crit in the face by a frying pan can be funny, but other than that, not really. But otherwise, no, just please remove them. Snooze, go ahead.
I think random crits should be completely removed from the game, and there's no reason for them to be staying. There are many reasons to remove them, and all the ones that all the ones for them to stay are purely subjective. So they have no weight.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Stocking.
I'm just going to say it this way. Imagine you've had a rough day, you come back, you want to play Team Fortress 2, and the first guy you come across is afraid to play. You know what? You can take him on easily. He doesn't know what he's doing. You take him down to 1 HP, and then he clicks on you once, and just so happens to get a random crit, and all your progress that you made on the fight while taking no damage is just completely erased by one lucky randomized shot.
Ugh. And Alexa.
I honestly think random crits should basically do what Tom Holland did in Infinity War and disappear from existence with the snap of Gaben's fingers. But in all honesty, I do agree with what Stocking said. It's sort of frustrating in a fight when you go up against someone that you know you're going to kick their ass and mop the floor with, but they somehow come out on top with a random critical rocket or random critical grenade or random critical shotgun pellet that somehow riddles your poor buff body into nothing, as you have been the one turned into a Swiffer mop and are being used to clean the floor with.
So, in general, it's kind of a pretty agreed consensus that we want random crits gone, and there's not really a reason to keep them. Now, we'll go over a few of the bullet points of points that I've been seeing, and we'll kind of go over what we think and whether which side is correct on it or not. So, for example, the first point we'll talk about is, do random crits encourage bad habits from undeserved kills? We'll start with Snooze.
Oh, well, okay. I do think I do think they do, really, because like I believe Uncle Dane made a point about this in his bloody 40-hour-long video. That if you get a kill, that means you're happy about that, which that's dark actually, but like you get what I mean. If you get a kill and you're rewarded with it by, oh, you got a kill, fucking congratulations. So if you keep if that kill is undeserved, you will keep on doing what got you that kill. For example, if you run at someone with a fish and you get a random crit for like 105 damage, and that gets a kill, guess what that person thinks is a good idea? Running at people with fishes. And while that may be cool for someone that has like 30 fishes, it's not for like actually getting kills, really.
Yeah. Really not a fucking surprise when you think about it. Now, Stocking, what would you say?
In all honesty, I am completely against the idea of random crits at all being skill-based. I mean, let's think about it this way, real quick. So, as many people have pointed out, in the TF2 in-game documentary, they explain that random crits are rewarded for doing damage over time and stuff like that. However, if you really think about it, that should not equal a free kill, especially in the case that you could be a public soldier spamming into a common choke point and only doing chip damage with your rockets, barely hitting anything, but because of your splash slowly racking up your damage, you're eventually going to fire a rocket within your volley that's able to wipe out the entire enemy team, despite the fact that you're meters away and their medic is giving them constant heals.
Exactly. But what fucking fun is there in one Crockett or one critted sticky taking out an entire combo just because the guy got lucky enough? How is that interesting? How is that a good kind of random? I honestly don't see the point. Alexa, take it away.
Okay, so frankly, in terms of combat prowess, I do believe that random crits pretty much enforce bad habits on newer players, primarily because of the fact that, you know, newer players, when they first start in this game, they have no idea that random crits are a thing. You know, it might be a fleeting idea in the back of their head somewhere. It's like, wow, I suddenly did like a humongous burst of damage. That must have been some sort of random effect or something like that. No, what they're gonna think most of the time is, oh wow, well if I just do this stupid ass retarded thing over and over again, I'll just keep getting kills. I'll be the top tier Call of Duty frag movie. I can put this on YouTube and, you know, get like 3 views. Woot. But you know, it's one of those things that, you know, back when TF2 was first going on, you know, when we had just the base TF2 at its finest, you know, random crits were a sort of interesting thing because of the way the structure of the game was. You know, there wasn't that many maps. You know, captured flag was still a prominent game mode in that back then. You know, there were some. You know, there weren't any new weapons. The classes functioned at their baseline and everything like that. So the random criticals thing was a interesting way to break a stalemate, or maybe sort of add a sort of upper edge in a fight. But nowadays, because of the way that TF2 is now being centered and sort of geared towards being a more competitive game, like many other first-person shooter games, the random criticals really don't have any place in here at all anymore. Because, like, it's frustrating for me because I don't like playing casual all that much anymore. I haven't even played competitive all that much either, so I don't even know if that's still any good since they reworked it. But I don't really enjoy playing casual all that much sometimes, because sometimes what'll happen is game after game after game, I just function as a crit magnet.
Oh yeah.
I'll get hit with random crit rollers for grenades. I'll get hit with random crit shots. I'll just get hit with random crit rockets around the corner. And see yeah, exactly. And the Uber saw, of course. And see, the worst thing about it too is that there are some factors in the game that aren't quite fully buffed out yet. So, like, for instance, you know, melee is a big issue in this game, melee combat, because depending on your ping or the latency of which you have connected to the server, you know, sometimes if you are a person with high latency, you can't hit shit with a melee weapon, because technically, by the server's rules, that person has already moved out. The person's hitbox has already moved outside your melee range, so it doesn't connect, even though you're still whacking the sniper over the head with the frying pan. That shit's just bouncing right off. And then, of course, they can turn around, you know, if they have better connection to the server. You could be around a corner, a Demo Knight could come charging in and just behead you from about 10 feet away because of how the melee works. Yeah. And the fact that melee weapons random crit the most out of any weapon in the game
65%
is a big issue. It has 65% crit rate on melee weapons.
Sure.
Think about that for a minute. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, it can end up, like I said before, you know, when you have something like that, it can enforce bad habits on newer players too. You know, because, oh, I just got this, so I can just go and do it. And they're going to get themselves killed, and they're not going to learn anything. You're just going to be like, oh, I don't know what to do, you know?
And I mean, people could probably try making the argument that, oh, well, as soon as they get a bit of experience, you know, they'll build out their mindset. All the experienced players aren't facing that problem. But that's the whole thing. Exactly. New players are still important. New players are what keeps this game going. If we don't get a steady stream of new players, the game is gonna start to die. That's just how it is. And you want these players to be fucking taught well. Go ahead, Snooze.
I believe that as you can see, I plugged in the microphone. Woohoo! But I believe that all if a game isn't dead until it has 0 players on it at all times, and
TF2 has 40,000 people on it, somewhere around there.
Yeah, but true. That's
and
probably a different discussion for another day.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the thing is that like, I don't think random crits would kill the game if they were removed, because
Absolutely not.
there are still, like, a lot of people bring up that not everyone plays the game competitively. Yes, that is true. Most people play casual.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, that doesn't, like, that's pigeonholing people into the fact that all people who play casual hate or love random crits, and that's not true.
Actually,
really.
that can segue into the next bullet point we're going to talk about. Are random crits such a major part of what makes casual interesting? Are random crits a definable part of casual? Snooze, you can finish what point you were making on that, since you built into it.
I'm just gonna go off what you said, because I'm unoriginal. But I feel that, like, the main point of casual is just to play TF2, right?
Yeah.
Like, just to, play it. And random crits, like, they are part of the game, yes. And they do sometimes make things funny and stuff like that, but really, who cares? Because TF2 already has its humor in its characters, the things like that. And I don't think it needs a mechanic that will punish you for playing. Like, respawn timers are sometimes, 20 seconds?
On defense, yeah, that can be really
Yeah,
excruciating.
and oh, haha, that was funny. Now I gotta wait 20 seconds to play.
Yeah. It's
maxed out that microphone.
Yeah, it's like what I said about the whole Critty or Rock Crockett from before. It's okay. It's a really fucking selfish dynamic when you think about it. If you're the person getting the crit, you're gonna get that sudden adrenaline rush. Like, I can't lie, even if I'm getting a crit that I know I don't deserve, it feels good. That's just it. It feels good.
Yeah, you got to kill.
But when you get killed by a crit, that doesn't feel good. Unless it's a really ridiculous weapon that you can laugh at, that don't feel good. And suddenly, you realise that the argument falls apart. Stocking, take it away.
So before I go into this side of the discussion, I think it would be interesting to touch on one of the points that was made during the recent sign, is that melee weapons in the game, they all have most of them have the ability to crit. Let's start by looking back at stock Team Fortress 2 from years ago. Random crits are in the game, and there was only one melee weapon with the potential to not random crit, and that would be the Spy's Knife.
Yeah.
It is the only melee weapon that could not random crit.
That makes sense.
However, I would like to take a look at that real quick. So a common thing to say if you get completely outgamed by a spy is face stab. Now, obviously, for a face stab to really happen, it's all about latency, about ping, and a little bit of luck in there too.
Yeah.
At the same time, if you think about it, a face stab is really just a random crit with higher kill potential, while every other crit does a rounded 195 damage, because all stock melee weapons, excluding the Scout's Bat, have that damage. We could put this into perspective that the only two classes that cannot die in a singular hit without overheal are the Soldier and the Heavy. That's still 7 out of 9 classes which are in the crits range.
Right. No, Pyro has 175.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Now, if we were going to incorporate that, we could just say that face stab is a slightly stronger random crit, and that's important to think about. The people who say that random crits are fine do not agree with the fact that face stabs are fine. So if we were going to balance it out, every primary weapon, excluding the sniper rifle, can random crit. How much fun would it be for an overhealed heavy to walk into the sight line of a sniper where he can only see your foot and all of a sudden instantly die because the sniper rifle now has the potential to randomly do headshot damage on a crit.
Oh dear God, that would
just imagine.
I mean, technically that kind of happens because of the way the latency works. Sometimes I'll get shot in a knee and it goes to the head.
The thing is that face stabs are purely latency and not a mechanic in the game, unless you count TF2's shitty you know, hit reg
Hitbox
and
registration,
networking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ooh, networking. No,
We'll get to that next time. Don't worry.
we'll get to that next
Oh.
time. don't
Yeah.
Thank
yes,
you
Reg.
for mirroring what Menti said exactly. But
worry.
like, a face stab is not a mechanic of TF2, while random crits are. So you shouldn't be balancing around face stabs. You should just be trying to remove them by, you know, not working with 14-year-old code.
So, yes, and there's a few points that Big Joey Slapnuts, a pretty well-known heavy tuber, made on Rider Cycle's video in favor of random crits that I felt were really well encompassing of what the that side's arguments are, yet also really weak.
Really easy to pick apart.
Really easy to pick. Well, not well. They're easy to highlight what the arguments are, and they're easy to pick apart because the arguments for that side is terrible anyway. For example, here's one that I think's interesting. Random crits do often break stalemates. He argues, here's what it says. It's true. Happened to me literally just a day or two ago. Hold on. Went on a 38 kill streak, got hit by a direct hit, crit rocket, and boom. Suddenly the opposite team could advance again, and even though we still won, my point is that often random crits do actually help stop pub stompers. Okay. One, he kind of invalidates his own argument by saying, we still won. So, obviously, the stalemate wasn't actually broken, more like it was just temporarily stunted.
Prolonged.
Yeah. And two, random crits do help stop pub stompers. I hate this stigma against pub stompers. Pub stomping only happens if your team is bad. Let's accept that for a moment. Pub stomping doesn't happen if your team is competent. So if you need a random crit to beat a player who is simply good at the game, that is encouraging bad skill.
Yeah, it's the argument that I say. People say, "Oh, well, you know, pub stompers are, you know, an issue or whatnot." You know, and I hate it whenever I get into a game and get into a pub stomper. It's not the stomper's fault that he's doing so well.
Exactly.
It's the fact that your team just fucking sucks. You know, it's not. It's why I use the analogy. It's why I use the analogy, and I tell people, look, you can steamroller a traffic cone, but you can't steamroller an oak tree.
What?
You can run over a traffic cone because it's really fucking frail, but you can't run over a tree because it's immobile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People get that. People get that analogy. But to
Kind
kind
of.
of contribute also... Yeah, kind of. But to kind of contribute, I guess, to the argument of whether or not random crits make casual fun and enjoyable, let me ask y'all a question, and let me ask the people who are viewing this in the present time or the future this question. When's the last time you heard anybody say, oh boy, I'm going to go play casual, and I can't wait to get bombarded with random crits for no apparent reason?
Well, no,
Like,
you've
honestly.
never heard that because nobody speaks in that tone, hopefully. And
Yeah.
two, nobody really, when they're saying, oh, I want to do this, they will focus on the bad thing. Nobody really says that.
But here's the thing, though. Nobody in this game who has played this game for long enough loves getting hit in the face with random crits, especially when they know that the person that threw the crit did not deserve the crit.
Yeah, and if I
we're just doing loop arounds to the same thing that, like, you know,
Exactly.
like
You know,
the person didn't deserve it, and thus the feeling of getting random crit is a loss.
Well, that's because it all kind of stems back to the same few arguments, really, because, you know, they'll say, well, random crits are keeping things interesting because you get that surge of adrenaline from a fun kill. But then you say, well, what about when you get hit by that kill? And suddenly it spirals back to this whole, actually, it kind of does encourage bad habits.
In all honesty, though, the other thing, though, that I kind of have to note is when I get a random crit kill, when I kill somebody with a random crit, half of me, of course, you know, I laugh a little bit, especially if it was like an intense fight or whatnot. I'm just like, holy shit, you know, what are you fucking laughing? But at the same time, regardless of what situation I'm in, I still feel bad about it because, you know, most of the time, whenever I get a random crit, I really don't deserve it.
Especially if it's against a fucking...
Well, you never deserve a random crit.
Exactly. Especially if it's against a fucking Gibberser. Like,
No, screw them. They can die a horrible death.
Oh god.
Push him off the cliff on upward. This is Sparta.
Have you got?
Speaking of upward, did you know that upwards? Okay.
Oh no, we've been over that. Stocking, you have anything? You've got anything to add before I move on?
Nope. Go ahead and bring up the next part of the discussion, please.
Okay, let's see. This is a very interesting point that Big Joey brought up, and it's sort of
Screenshot.
Hold on, I don't need to screenshot.
Yes, you do.
I'll just read it. Hold on. It spirals into a different argument, which I won't get us too much into, but it's kind of relevant. The point is, casual does not need to be as close to comp as possible.
Oh god.
So he's saying, people can still grow to be great players with or without random crit presence. So again, there's no really a need to delete them. Casual can be like Super Smash Bros. With items turned on, while games with no crits turned on can be like those try-hard no-item matches on Final Destination. I love how he slips in try-hard to make it sound like serious matches are a bad thing. Besides, we already have places for comp players to train, though admittedly not as great as we would wish for.
Please don't tell me you're talking about, what's that one place called? That
TF2 Center?
Oh, fucking
yeah,
I hate that place.
I'll probably talk about that fucking barren place in the future. But yeah, we won't get into the whole casual versus comp argument too much, but I don't understand where this whole removing random crits would help in making TF2 too competitive comes from.
Well, TF2 is okay, think about this. In casual, you have random crits, which is a weird, unbalanced mechanic. Okay, you have random crits, and if you remove those, you're getting rid of one of the unbalanced mechanics. Oh, that's too uncompetitive.
Yeah.
You have a fish. You can smack people with a fish. You can slap people with Pyro's hand. How is that competitive, really? I mean, like, if casual starts banning weapons, yes, absolutely,
exactly,
that would be.
Yeah.
And casual has every weapon for you, really.
Exactly.
And that you have. It's not hard to get weapons. You can get all of them for like 20 cents. But that's not the point. The point is that if there are other unbalanced mechanics in TF2 that aren't just random crits, for example, the entire existence of the spy.
Oh god.
Don't start snooze.
Anyone remember good old random damage spread, which made the good old lock and load one-hit light classes half the time?
Oh! Speaking of random stuff, you honestly, if random bullet spread was removed instead of random crits, I would be happy.
Yeah.
Literally, like, if they remove random bullet spread, like, no, that would not make it too competitive, really, because I don't believe that any game is too competitive, really, if it's just the RNG mechanics that are getting removed. Because TF2 will always have RNG. That's just, it will always have it. Every game, hopefully, or probably. As much as I don't like RNG, and that's why I don't play games like Hearthstone, like, RNG is a shit mechanic, we'll be honest there.
How about you,
But, like,
Stocking?
Okay, well, never mind then.
Sorry, I thought you were done, because you've been...
No,
please, let Snooze continue.
But,
yeah, go on.
every mechanic really falls on some sort of RNG. So, if you remove random crits, which, are random, so you would remove a part of the random atmosphere, what the fuck? Okay, but if you remove all the things like random crits, random bullet spread, there's a third one I'm forgetting, you'll still have a casual game. The weapons are the things that mostly are unbalanced. The Diamondback, that's not making anything competitive, that's just a fuck you weapon.
Oh my god, yeah. Okay, Stocking, go ahead.
On that fair note of weapons, something that has been widely regarded in the TF2 community for years is the meme stat, no random crits. It is a meme on every video made as a joke demonstration, overpowered weapon. It's got a billion great stats on it. It's one downside, no random crits. The fact that people have used that for years has become a stigma within the community, that if a weapon doesn't have random crits, it's it's fine because random crits are unbalanced, but at the same time, people are too afraid to let go of what made the game so fun for them to play. Because if you're not good enough at a young age into the game, having the ability to insta-kill players who are outclassing you in every manner makes the game feel that much better to play, and you don't have to invest as much time attempting to get onto their level.
You know what I think it is? I think as far as casual's concerned, it's because of the big player numbers. Like, I hate to talk about this, but let's take Overwatch, for example. Let's say you're in a 6v6 scenario, and a Pharah gets a random crit that immediately kills Reinhardt. Suddenly, that enemy team...
one with the rockets, right?
Yeah, yeah. Suddenly, that Reinhardt is dead. That team's lost their biggest tank, and it's down to 5 players. No one's going to find that fucking fun because their team is like nearly 20% down and they've lost a really important player. But in TF2, let's be honest, in a 12v12 scenario, losing one person, you're not really going to feel it. There's a good chance that one person might just be a noob or a friendly, so, you know, no one thinks much of it. But let's say...
friendlies.
Yeah, but let's say it was a 6s, for example. Soldier gets a random crocket that kills the enemy medic.
And that's
GG!
Right there.
Yeah, that's GG! No one's going to have fun with that, and that's incompetitive. So, this whole idea that random crits remove... Oh, I don't know. It's stupid.
If I may interject here, it's not really about the argument right now, but it's about random crits in general.
Go ahead.
And the whole debate, really. Did you see anybody, like... Okay, this might be a bit of conspiracy theory, but bear with me. Did you see anybody wanting to get random crit or keep random crits before Uncle Dane made his video?
Not very widespread now.
After he made it, people just want to oppose a YouTuber.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Before Dane made his video.
Think about that. Also goes with like one place I was very involved in with the ambassador nerf. Really, like before the ambassador was nerfed, you saw almost nobody complaining about it, really. And then after Valve put out the patch notes, or the suggested patch notes, you saw basically everybody like, oh yeah, woohoo for Valve, they're getting rid of the best weapon to get... Fuck you. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
I feel like people are just like... I feel like people just, you know, they're going on this random crit bandwagon. Fucking hell. Bandwagon.
Just for the hell of it.
Yeah, just like because they want to oppose a popular YouTuber. Really.
Yeah.
I need to back away from this microphone or kids. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be too surprised, honestly, because before Uncle Dane put out his video, the remove random crit people were always a lot louder than the very few keep random crit people. Even if you just go to a typical cat... Look how long Fair and Balance was a meme for, and how widespread that was. Fuck off if you're trying to tell me that keep random crits was ever a big thing.
Yeah, like, random crits, I bet you, the people who said random... Like, you know, in pods, when you get a... when they get a kill with a random crit, they put a bind. Like, random crits are fair and balanced. I'm hoping my microphone picked that up.
Well, yeah, we
but here's the thing. Like, the same people who put the binds in casual chat, some of them are probably now arguing that they're fine. Like, the whole thing of random crits are fair and balanced, that was sarcasm and taking the piss out of how they're not fair and balanced.
Yeah. But, you know, people want to keep their own funny bind.
Yeah, and I'd like to go ahead and throw in the interjection. Stalking mentioned earlier about the meme stat of a large majority of weapons with no random crits. If you remove random crits in its entirety, or at least for the majority of casual play, like, I'd say definitely keep them in MVM because, you know, they're robots. Nobody cares about robots. But, you know, it's yeah, exactly. But in casual play, when you're dealing with other players, you know, you don't want to... I really feel like weapons should be less balanced around, oh, this has this stat and this stat, but it does no random crits. No, I think it should be less... It should be based not around the competitiveness of the weapon, but the functionality of the weapon, the purpose of what the weapon does. The Ambassador is a revolver that headshots, so let's give it let's give it a medium. Let's give it a short to medium range.
No.
To where it will do. Hang on, Snooze. To where it does
Absolutely
102% damage reliably every time, but it has a slower firing speed and a slower reload speed, so that you can't pop out damage ridiculously consistently.
Because you were good?
You know.
Oh no, it's nerf skill.
Yeah,
I'm not okay. Get off this.
Hang
I
on,
don't
hang
want to
on.
argue about it for 2 hours
Hang on
again.
now, Snooze. I'm getting to a different weapon.
Mhm.
All right, and then like let's take the yellow pool caper for instance. It's a melee weapon that's supposed to be a finisher type weapon. So let it have high enough damage, but rework it maybe to sort of be like a, I don't know, like maybe a good demo knighting weapon, or maybe encourage some demo play styles that are like parachuter demo or something like that, where you can just jump up in the air, and just bring the caber down like a market gardener for the demo in a way. You know, let's say the direct hit. The direct hit's meant to be a soldier primary that relies on aim to deal with maybe more airborne enemies, or really just profit from me in general. So balance it around that. But what I'm kind of getting at here is that the weapons, the random crits, once they're removed, it'll force Valve to really look at the weapons and sort of rebalance them in a better, more efficient way that actually revolves around the function of the weapon rather than just its competitive viability.
Yeah, and rather than just slapping no random crits on it, which actually I think, if I can just take the reins for a second, because that builds into the last point we'll talk about. Would removing random crits actually adversely affect any weapons, whether for the good or for the bad?
Not really. No.
No one thinks so?
I can honestly attest to the fact that as many times as I've played with every single class, the only weapon that really benefits in any shape, way, or form for any type of random crits is really the Ubersaw, and even then it really doesn't do all that much. All you do is you get to laugh at the fact that you just straight up stab someone to death in one go.
That's basically the only one I could say needs.
Wait, I have another.
Oh, go ahead.
Which one?
The Scotsman Skull Cutter.
No!
Oh,
come on! Come on!
Oh, the
I will fight you. I will fucking fight you.
Oh no!
I was going to bring that up actually because of Ace the Ocarina. Ace the Ocarina guy.
That one's gotta go, honestly. I'm tired of getting crit by that in fucking medieval.
Don't get within melee range of a demo man then!
You can't with the ping like they are. They are everywhere. You could they'll swing their giant. It's like that freaking what was it on NSILT's video? Fucking Spoodwagon or fucking, it's the one with the stupid looking scout picture or whatnot that was doing. But whatnot. It's just like I can. Yeah, I'll turn 360 degrees and destroy the world with my dick, and then because my dick is magic, I can stop time to save the world from my dick. It's like that with the Scotsman Skull Cutter in melee range in general.
Go ahead.
Yes. Why does the Skull Cutter have random crits?
Because
all the other melee
Valve
weapons
doesn't...
or all the swords.
I hate to say, but that alone makes it one of the few Demo Knight weapons that's still fucking good. The Eyelander is overrated as fuck, I'm sorry to say. The Persian Persuader's awful.
How about the horse?
The Persuader's more of a Demo Knight only weapon, really. It's meant to be used with the booties with its stats. But in all honesty,
even the Skull Cutter's great as a Demo Knight only weapon.
Yeah, because look, I'll look at the Demo Knight. I look at the demo weapons, the melee weapons in general. You know, the Scotsman Skull Cutter has a 20% damage bonus, and you move slower. But you have random fucking crits. So because you have that 20% damage bonus, and I will tell you, because I used to go on Harpoon all the time when it was, alive. And I would do like diligent melee battles in the boxing arena in Harpoon. And I swear to fuck, about 60% of the time, Skull Cutter would crit whenever I used it. And it would do a whopping 220 damage.
Yeah, something like that.
In a single crit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, same with the back scratcher.
Yeah, and in terms of the in terms of the Demo Man melees, we really don't have that much in terms of viability. We had the swords and everything. We had the Persian Persuader, the Eyelander, the Claymore, the Olapul Caber is counted because it's got a 100% deploy speed, even though it doesn't have the range, and Zatoichi. But here's the thing, though: the fucking the swords have no variety, and the Eyelander's going to stick out on top always because of its head collecting ability. You know, regardless of whether or not you can do random crits with that shit. You know, you fucking get a demo man with a splendid screen and an Eyelander out and a fucking conscious
300 health with overheal.
Yeah,
300.
Yeah, you can. When you get going on the Eyelander, it's hard to stop. It really is. It's really hard to stop a demo with that, especially if he's tanking a bunch of stuff with a shield. But the other sword weapons don't really have any good viability and balance other than the Skull Cutter. But the only reason the Skull Cutter is any good is because it can do random crits.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the Claymore, they didn't even fully revert the Claymore. It still has a damage vulnerability on it, which actually makes it. And I actually saw this thing on Ace's video the other day when we hit the math, and I actually went back and I checked it myself. This thing's damage vulnerability actually makes you have less of a total health pool than the Eyelander does at 0 heads.
Okay, we'll move away from demo now, so just don't get too much off topic. But yeah, we're kind of in agreement that aside from one, maybe two examples, removing
crits will basically make the weapons more balanced.
Yeah, removing random, not even just that, but like removing random crits wouldn't matter because name me one weapon that has no random crits that actually has it for a good reason.
What?
Name me a weapon that has no random crits as a downside and actually has it for a good reason. Like, if that weapon had crits, it would be unbalanced. Like, the direct hit has random crits.
The Ambassador.
And it is unbalanced.
Well, actually, no, if the Ambassador had random crits, he'd still do, like, 2 damage. But,
I can't really think of any. It's not...
Huntsman?
Huntsman has no random crits, does it?
No, but it counts as a sniper rifle in that sense. So...
Oh.
But on that note, can we just think of a world where the Crusader's crossbow could headshot?
No, we cannot. No, we cannot.
That'd be fun.
That would be
maybe
a
in
big
medieval.
no on that.
Maybe in medieval, but outside of that, no, thank you. All right, I think we'll call it for there because we've been at this for quite a while. Thank you everybody once again for coming along. We have Snooze.
Meow.
We have Stocking once again.
Despacito.
And we have the ever so adorable Alexa Zoderia.
My heat meter is still at maximum.
And of course, we have your favorite cup of minty coffee. Minty coffee. Now...
Can I drink you?
No. Now, in closing, before we go, think about it like this. Which is going to win? Over 7,000 hours in Team Fortress 2? Or one shiny boy? See you later, everybody. Bye!
Meow.